Hey everybody, thanks for logging on to WeAreIowa.com, joining us on Facebook or on the We Are Iowa app or on our We Are Iowa Local 5 YouTube channel. I'm meteorologist Brandon Lawrence here in studio alongside meteorologist Dave Downey, and the reason we are doing severe weather coverage here live on our website and app is we've got some severe weather moving into the area, Dave, a pretty big storm that has been developing over the last 20 to 30 minutes.
Yeah, this is moving from Webster County down into Boone County right now. Brandon, severe thunderstorm warning issued within the past 5 minutes. Look at those pinks and purples there just southeast of Gowrie. This is going to be kind of riding that triple point between Greene County, Boone County, Webster County. I know it's got that classic kind of hook echo look to it, so you think, oh, it might have a tornado on it, might have some, rotation at least in it. There's definitely some upper level rotation. I don't think that rotation's reaching the ground, and that's why a tornado warning has not been issued. Brandon's putting on the hail size tracker here. That's probably an inch just north in between Gowrie and Lena right now. Brandon, can you maybe query that? It's probably about an inch, so quarter-sized hail. This is going to be moving maybe just east of Patton, so 3/4 of an inch, so not quite quarter size, between Patton and Boxholm. So again, right in this triple point between Webster County, Boone County, and Greene County. Maybe the past 30 minutes put this in a loop just because of how quickly this has strengthened. It's been kind of interesting to watch. We weren't sure if this cell was going to take over. You can definitely see it's kind of taking in that inflow notch from the southwest. I know it's got that classic look to it, like, oh, it's going to be producing a tornado. Brandon, it doesn't look like it's doing that yet. I know we just heard a bing over there.
Just continuing there, but
okay.
They just said now thunderstorm damage, calling that a considerable threat. So we have the concern for large hail here, but also the concern for very strong wind. That wind could be higher than 60 miles per hour. And Dave, what we want to watch with this cell is who is in the path of it next, where it's going. And let me double check how quickly.
Golf ball size hail, they're saying.
Is that what they're saying?
Yeah.
All right, so looks like they expanded that warning a little bit, and I'm going to see how quickly that storm is moving.
And Brandon, I believe with the change they made, remember after the 2020 derecho, would phones be going off if you're in that area for golf ball sized hail? I might be wrong.
Possibly. Usually once it gets to be 2-inch hail or bigger is when they do that, so it might not be just yet, but wouldn't be surprised if it does that. Okay, so this is moving southeast at 30. So let's put a little track right on that hail core.
Southeast at 30.
Here's some of the arrival times. We're looking at 5:16 in Beaver, 5:23 in Ogden, 5:32 in Moingona, I hope I said that right, 5:50 in Woodward. So notice what that's doing. That's going to come right through Boone County, and that is going to make an approach to the Des Moines Metro, the northwest side of the Metro, at probably another hour or so. And I anticipate this storm will probably continue to strengthen, Dave.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I'm looking at the velocities here. There's not a tight couplet there, which is good news for any tornado risk. So you can see what I mean by a couplet is if any of those greens and reds are directly touching. We can see that's not the case. Brandon circling those inbound winds, so winds coming towards the radar or to the southeast, 44 miles per hour. Gate-to-gate shear, that's not bad from a storm's perspective of around 40 miles per hour. Our radar product here on the computer that I'm looking at here is picking up, oh boy, let's maybe query these hail sizes now. This is over an inch. Maybe an inch and a half. Just 1 inch full. Okay, so quarter-sized hail. So the National Weather Service said a golf ball-sized hail with this, that would be 1.5 inches. Our hail indicator only picking up 1 inch. Brandon's putting on the hail tracker here. Kind of a good product to show how rapidly this storm has strengthened in the past hour or so as it progressed from Calhoun County into Webster County. We saw this storm first bubble up in Calhoun County, then make its way to the southeast into Webster County. It kind of looked a little bit weaker for a second when it was between maybe Callender and Lehigh, and then it quickly re-strengthened as it's moving now pretty much in between Greene County and now into Boone County. If you're in Boxholm, if you're in Pilot Mound, even if you're in Boone, I know the storm is still a half hour away in Ogden and Boone. You should be in your safe place. This has got some large hail with it, and as Brandon said, it's got potentially 60, maybe 65 mile per hour winds. That's the general direction the storm is moving off to the southeast. You said, is it 35?
It's moving at 30, yeah, to the southeast.
30,
so
okay.
It's not the quickest storm we've had. A lot recently, we've had some storms going 50, 60 miles per hour. This one not moving as quickly.
Gotcha. I'm going to zoom out on my computer just to see the other cells that we have. Looks like nothing else, I guess, pertinent right now.
Yeah, we see a couple of other little cells that are trying to develop. One over southern Ida County, one over southern Sac County, and then one random cell that's trying to develop over in eastern Cass County. But this is by far the storm to watch.
Yeah, especially with the direction it's heading.
Yeah.
You know, off to the southeast towards the metro.
Exactly. So if you are anywhere in Boone County, I want to remind you that you are under a severe thunderstorm warning. That severe thunderstorm warning does include Peyton, Beaver, Pilot Mound, Boone, Rippey, and it goes right down to Highway 169, where 169 meets Highway 30. Ogden is also in this warning, Grand Junction, and Dana, which is in Greene County. This is a pretty intense supercell thunderstorm trying to develop. At this point, everything I see on radar, I'm most concerned about that hail threat, which is actually something that, Dave, you pointed out earlier and said hail may be one of the bigger problems we see today, and this is the latest when it comes to the hail size.
This product lags maybe 4 or 5 minutes behind.
Yeah, it's kind of slow.
But I think this is pretty much where the cell was at its peak intensity as it moved across the county line between Webster and Greene County, because the cell right now is pretty much on the county line between Boone and Greene County, and that's not where the hail tracks are on it right now. So, yeah, there it is. Our radar product here is picking up 2-inch hail. I think that might be a little overdone here on our computer, on my laptop here, but I think, no doubt, it has at least 1 inch in diameter sized hail, and it could very well strengthen. I mean, you see how quickly the hail size jumped as it progressed 10 to 15 miles southeastward in Webster County. So, doesn't take much. I think maybe the hail signature has weakened a little bit there, Brandon.
Possibly, yeah. We're still watching, and sometimes these storms cycle up, cycle down a little bit. And there is still kind of a hook feature, sort of that classic hook look to it. Still not totally concerned about a tornado threat with this at the moment. Doesn't mean that couldn't become a problem later on. One thing, even if the hail signature is weakening, that's some very heavy rainfall coming down in the northeast corner of Greene County. That's going to be moving into Boxholm here very soon. So if nothing else, lots of hail, small-sized hail, probably at least 1 inch, and then very heavy rainfall that comes along with it.
Yep, I would agree with that, Brandon. Maybe what's going on further behind this? Maybe in western Webster County, some of that energy is getting kind of sucked out of this storm into what's back building here. This is the only severe thunderstorm warning we have. It does go until 5:30. It goes until 5:30 for Boone, Greene, and Webster counties. The threat for Webster County, I would say, is just about done. It's now mainly a Boone and far northeastern Greene County ordeal right now. Rockwell City, you're going to see some rain in the next 10 minutes, but that's about it. Nothing in the severe category for Calhoun County right now. Brandon, maybe we can zoom back out here and kind of a broad look of just across central Iowa,
Yep.
west of I-35.
Sharing a couple of different things over. So
yeah,
this is what's really interesting about how today's going to play out and how it's playing out right now is we've got boom, 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 little cells that have formed. It's not one massive area of storms. And that almost makes it a little bit trickier to focus on each individual storm cell. But that's kind of the setup right now. And I do want to show you too, if I go back and put the warnings on, things are super active back in Nebraska. These storms that you see out there, multiple tornado warnings in effect there. One that is an observed tornado, which is highlighted in pink. That's all moving to our south. That is not coming into Iowa. Dave's pointing that out for you. That's headed into northeast Kansas and then eventually St. Joe, Kansas City. Not going to be a problem for us. Really, I think it's going to be this cell, these couple of cells right here, that are going to cause us the most problems over the next few hours. And once these pass through, then I think our severe weather threat will go down.
Yeah, I'd agree. And it's so far good news that this is the only cell that has a severe thunderstorm warning on it. Goes for another 30 minutes. So it goes until 5:30, just before the top of the hour right now. Brandon, it looks like it's kind of lost that hook echo.
A little bit, yeah. I want to see the
velocities, maybe?
hails, and I should pull up the velocity too. I still think we're probably getting a decent amount of hail in there.
Pull up the correlation coefficient graphic, or the product, because we're going to see something interesting. I'm looking on the computer right now. So rain has a typical magenta, kind of that reddish look to it. It looks like it's raining here. What these colors should be would be this color, but it's not. It's this kind of irregular green yellow. That means the objects are not essentially one-to-one horizontal and vertically. So that means there's hail in there that's different size. It's not hail is not an exact sphere. We've seen it before. So this is a sign. This is basically a check mark for large hail in this storm. This is typically a product we can use for tornadic debris signatures, but it's also one we can use right now for hail. So
I'll tell you, Dave, looking at the velocity, there's not a whole lot there that screams out at me. You have some good inbound winds there, which are highlighted in that bright green color just to the east of Dana, and those are moving towards 169. Those will pass to the north of Beaver, but there's not that classic green up against red look that we would typically see when we're watching for a tornado. So that's an encouraging sign.
Yeah, it is. We knew the tornado threat. It's still low today. Isolated, a couple tornadoes definitely can't be ruled out. There's a tornado watch in effect. Technically, the tornado watch is not in Boone County. That does not mean there can't be a tornado in Boone County. That just means the tornado threat kind of lessens the further east or the further closer to I-35, and definitely the further east of I-35 that you get. Tornado watch remains in effect. Does not include Polk County. Does include Dallas County, though, until 10 p.m. tonight. If you're in Pilot Mound, you're hearing lots of thunder and lightning right now. I think the worst of the hail is just to your west. Brandon's putting a tracker on this. This storm is moving to the southeast around 30 miles per hour. We have Madrid in the next 45 to 50 minutes.
Yeah, Sheldall by 6 o'clock. So that'll be approaching the far south corner of Boone County, Luther, Madrid, and eventually will make its way into northwest Polk County. So we're going to be watching Granger, Woodward, Polk City, Alleman, and maybe even Ankeny and Johnston. I mean, if nothing else, this storm will come that way. Whether or not it is still severe or very intense kind of remains to be seen. But yeah, definitely still a good hail threat moving into Ogden, Coal Valley, and Luther. I'll take that off and show you just kind of where this is right now. This is a pretty intense storm with some probably large hail moving towards Highway 169, Boxholm, Pilot Mound, Fraser, Logansport, Ogden, most of central Boone County and northern Boone County under this warning and under the threat with this storm. Pretty heavy rainfall, and something I haven't showed you yet is the lightning. Yeah, quite a bit of lightning there right in that cell.
And there's even a lightning strike in far southeast Greene County. We always say when thunder roars go indoors.
Yeah.
But it can always strike 10 to 15 miles outside of where the thunderstorm is. That's at least 10 to 15 miles southwest of where the thunderstorm is in Rippey. So there's another one further away from where the cell is.
Yeah, that's south of Highway 30.
Yeah, so that just, lightning is not a top killer in severe weather. Doesn't really matter. I mean, it's very loud. It gets all sporting events canceled that are outside.
Right.
I just saw Colin Cahill. He's back from shooting a bunch of different sporting. I mean, there's all sorts of things going on this weekend.
You know, Dave, I keep pulling up the hail signature here, and that signature keeps going down.
Correct.
Dave mentioned that this has a lag on it. It lags 4 or 5 minutes typically, but that's not as intense as what it was a minute ago. That's a good thing. We don't want large hail. So at this point, I think probably the biggest hail that fell from this storm was probably north of Peyton and just south of Gowrie. So somewhere in far southern Webster County and far northern Boone County, right there on the line. And actually, the hail track will be really interesting to see here. You see how intense it was there near Lena and Lanyon, north of Peyton, right up near Highway 175. And quarter-sized hail is currently falling 4 miles west and northwest of Boxholm.
Okay.
That is a report. So that makes sense given where that
pretty
hail
much
track
right
is.
where, because it says in Greene County, so probably literally right around here, Brandon.
Yeah.
Right where
And
that
if I
kinda,
query that,
I bet it says an inch.
yep, 1 inch hail. So we know we have quarter-sized hail falling there. That's enough to cause problems for sure. And, you know, it's a good night, by the way, if you are in Boone County, Polk County, really if you're in central Iowa, park somewhere that's covered.
Yeah.
You know, go underneath a carport, in a garage if you can. I don't think we're going to see gigantic hail falling everywhere, but why take the risk?
As our cars are parked outside the studio.
Yeah, that's
covered.
Try not to think about that.
Don't do what we did. We don't really have a choice, though. Anyways, there's another cell developing back here in Rockwell City. We mentioned this. You might see some rain in Rockwell City. Now you might see some thunder and lightning. This is an interesting trend. This is where the current cell that has a warning on it kind of got its act together and started forming back here in western Calhoun County, eastern Sac County. So these storms are back building behind each other. Not only can that, increase severe risk over and over again, it could increase flash flooding risks if it rains over the same spot over and over again. That's what we saw in Boone County last week with some of those severe thunderstorms. So, Brandon, this cell is getting close to being out of the warning box.
It is, yeah. So they'll have to make a decision here soon. This warning is set to go until 5:30, but they're going to have to issue, I would think, a warning downstream unless they decide to get rid of the warning altogether, which they might do also.
Yeah, and you made a good point earlier bringing up those hail tracks. The signature is not quite as strong as what it was.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised if they didn't extend this. I mean, they still have, 10, 15 minutes to decide probably. Because the heaviest hail or the largest hail would probably be between Pilot Mountain and Patton. So it's still in northwestern Boone County. Ogden, maybe pea-sized hail. I wouldn't say anything more than that in Ogden right now. The velocity signature is
going down also?
pretty mute, yeah.
Yeah, look at the gate-to-gate shear down to 7 miles per hour, and that velocity signature, the inbound wind was about 45 miles per hour 5 minutes ago.
Yeah.
Now down to 31 miles per hour. So that's a pretty significant weakening trend.
Yeah, so we kind of knew that coming into today, that there were a lot of pros for storms.
Now look
real
at how
quick,
small
yeah,
it
look
is.
at this. That's pea-sized hail max almost.
Yeah, let me query that now.
Maybe marble-sized.
Now we're down to half-inch hail.
Yeah, so about
In
marble.
this area where the light gray is, 0.4. So that's pretty small. Let me see what that update was.
Continued the warning, backed off to an
Yeah.
inch diameter.
So Webster County no longer under that severe thunderstorm warning.
Few reports of wall clouds.
Okay. So wall cloud, think of that like the first step
Yeah.
to maybe get a tornado. Doesn't mean that we will get all 3 steps, but a wall cloud's kind of like the first step. You could almost argue that there's 2 steps to a wall cloud. You can have one, but is it rotating? That would sort of be 1B. Part 2 would be a funnel cloud. Part 3 would be an actual tornado touching down. But that doesn't mean we will go through those 3 steps and get that to happen. it's interesting that they said there's a few reports of wall clouds, but didn't say anything about that wall cloud actually being rotating.
The hook is, put the reflectivity back up here, Brandon. The hook is trying to come back.
A little bit.
But like you said, you put up the velocity.
Yeah.
Velocities aren't anything crazy. But again, wall cloud is the first step.
Here's what's kind of interesting about this. So typically with a hook, you want good inflow. Right now, the inflow would kind of have to go around this and in. Trying to draw an arrow. My artistry is not very great. This area that we're seeing with rainfall over Ogden, right there at 169 and 30, that could almost inhibit that inflow a little bit. If the storm were oriented almost in a different direction, I would be a little bit more concerned about the inflow. But yeah, I agree. It's trying to hook a little bit again, but the velocity not showing us anything that's really alarming.
Can we maybe zoom out a little bit and put it in a 30-minute motion? Because we mentioned earlier, the question is, will it turn right? We mean turn right, will it, instead of just going southeast, will it kind of make a little zoom more to the southerly direction? It might be trying to a little bit there.
Yeah.
But you accurately summarized, the storm inflow has to come from right there. There's some sort of an outflow boundary there, which would prohibit kind of tornadic development along that US 30 line. The tornado threat's not zero, but right now doesn't look like they're going to issue a tornado warning based off those wall cloud reports. That can easily change in the next 20 to 30 minutes.
Yeah. So I'm putting the warning back on there to show you they have trimmed away Webster County from that warning. And now it includes just Boone County. And that is, well, technically part of Greene, but for the most part, it's Boone County. That's where the storm is. And yeah, it's getting pretty noisy, I imagine, in Boone, Ogden, still noisy in Pilot Mound. But the signature for hail has gone down. At the very least, we're seeing a lot of heavy rainfall. We're seeing lightning with this cell. I can pull up the lightning strikes. Quite a few of them right there in the heart of that storm. And if nothing else, forget the severe weather threat for a minute. This storm is still moving southeast. There are still a lot of people outside. There are still outdoor activities going on, events, all kinds of things. I'm very glad that this is staying just to the east of Jefferson, where they have the Bell Tower Festival going on.
Yeah.
They might have a little lightning there, so maybe they ran in or paused events for a little bit, but I'm glad the heart of that storm did not go overhead there. But this is still on a path, a southeast trend about 30 miles an hour, which would take it, it's probably going a little bit more like this, that would take it about 525 in Luther, 534 in Madrid, 544 in Slater, 553 in Polk City, and 604 in Ankeny. I do still think this will pass through northern Polk County, hopefully not severe when it does so, but still, if you live in the north side of the metro, be prepared for rain in the next hour or so.
Yeah, this hook echo is just kind of, it's nothing special. Yeah, it's kind of, there's probably, I see a new scan here on on my laptop here. There's not a whole lot there. I mean, which is, I see why there's a wall cloud. There's definitely inbounds against outbounds. There's definitely some rotation there. We're not disputing that. That definitely exists, but there's nothing that suggests a tornado is imminent.
That rotation would need to be very tight, and we would need to probably see wind speeds higher than this. That velocity, when I basically, we call it querying the storm, when I try to ask the storm what it's doing, shows us the velocity inbound winds about 25 miles per hour now. So that continues to go down each and every time I look at that.
Nice personification there. Asking the storm what it's doing.
Asking the storm what it does, yeah.
That was interesting. There's our hail size. Hail is now a lessening threat substantially with this storm.
Yeah.
The question is, will they extend the severe thunderstorm warning in the interest of higher population, in Polk County, with knowing that there's a lot of events? Weather Service offices are known for doing that, which makes sense. You want to get the word out to the people that are outside. There's Pride Fest this weekend.
Yep.
There's no reason why you shouldn't be at the pool earlier this afternoon.
Yeah, a lot of people out at the pool in the East Village. We've got a lot of people here prepping for Ironman, which is tomorrow.
Yeah.
Huge activities tomorrow.
I guess it's a good thing that today's the active day as opposed to tomorrow, although we might see some showers tomorrow morning.
Yeah.
Getting ahead of ourselves here a little bit. If you're in Des Moines, Taylor's our director. Brandon, can you see where the Sky Tracker camera is pointed?
Yeah, let me
Maybe we can point that to the northwest. I know the water tower might be in the way. Okay, that's pointing to the...
That's pointing the wrong direction, so...
Brandon's going to work some magic here.
All right, let's go to Dave for a minute. I'm going to pull back up the reflectivity, and he's going to talk about that, and I'm going to go fix that camera for a minute.
Okay, so here we go. You can kind of see... let's kind of zoom that back out, put everything in motion, because I think it gives a good trend of where we're at right now.
We'll go last half hour.
There you go.
All right, let me fix that camera.
Okay. The stronger, what we call reflectivities, or how big the raindrops or the hail cores are within our Webster County, Boone County storm has definitely dropped. I know this is kind of a wide angle here. There's not as many reds or dark reds or purples as what we had. So I think the hail threat has gone down with this, and I don't think the tornado threat is high. It's not zero. There's definitely some rotation within that storm. Some spotters have seen wall clouds out there. That's the only cell that looks semi-interesting right now in terms of from a can it go severe perspective. There's another cell that formed back here in Calhoun County. It's not severe yet. I'm sure it has some lightning on it.
That's the best view we can get. This is at the top of the water tower. And of course, we've got a lot of equipment there that kind of blocks our view, but you can see kind of off in the distance there.
So people can look to the northwest. They probably, see what's coming. Brandon, I'm gonna be honest. I don't think they're gonna extend this severe thunderstorm warning.
I don't think so either. I feel like if they were going to, and I don't like to speak for the Weather Service because they're a great team of meteorologists there. Mm-hmm. If they were going to do it, it probably would have already been done.
Yeah.
That's kind of my thought process because, like you said, it's headed into a more populated area. And actually, watching that 30-minute loop, you can see how it kind of spiked up there. And you saw those big purple colors that popped up, and then those are gone now.
Some whites, too, and that's off the scale. There's been cells that have been trying to form down in Cass and Adair County. They've kind of sprouted then sputtered. The only two cells that bear watching right now is the Boone County one and the Calhoun County one.
And I'll tell you, the Storm Prediction Center, when they issued their severe outlook earlier today, put southwest Iowa in that bullseye for severe weather. And all day we've been watching central Iowa thinking okay, there's a concern, there's a threat here too. If those storms don't,
they canceled it for Green.
Oh, I see.
Okay. Continued it for Boone, yeah.
If those storms don't really intensify, then in that case, southwest Iowa will be kind of the bullseye for the severe weather that we see in our state because these cells still have to go through southwest Iowa. Doesn't mean it'll affect our area a whole lot. I could see that passing through part of Cass, certainly Adams County.
Taylor County.
And Taylor County. So Lenox, Quincy, Corning, Bedford, those are the areas, and this is still more than an hour away. That is to the north of Omaha, over Missouri Valley, to the east of Fremont, Nebraska. So we have to watch those as we go through the night. But boy, I'll tell you, it's those storms over Beatrice, Nebraska that really fired up multiple tornado warnings there. In our area, I am encouraged by what I see. Maybe a little bit surprised by what I see, but encouraged.
And a surprise in a good way, yeah.
Yeah.
The night's not over at all. Is it 83 degrees outside?
Let's see. Feels like it's 83 in the studio. It's about 83. 82 at the last hour, but then we get observations from the airport every 5 minutes, and one of them jumped up to 84. Typically, that means we're probably right there in the middle. So I think we're at least at 83. Still reporting overcast clouds at the airport.
Yeah, there was an 80. We did get an 84 the past, like you said. Dew points have held steady in the mid-60s.
Yeah.
And then let's look at the wind shear product I'm going to look at here. I mean, the wind shear is just not that good in the lowest kilometer of the atmosphere. So from the surface up 1 kilometer,
basically
is
the
not that
ingredient we need for tornado formation to get the severe thunderstorms to really grow. Dave, you and I talked about that yesterday. You sent me a text yesterday morning and said, what's the shear like for Saturday? And I said, it's there, but it's not great.
Yeah, and you need shear to form some sort of severe thunderstorm. There's enough, but there's not enough for a substantial tornado risk.
Yeah. So to kind of set the stage for where we are, I'm looking at our clock. It's 5:18 right now. There is a severe thunderstorm warning over central Boone County that goes until 5:30. Looks like the Weather Service is going to let that warning continue until 5:30. And then at this point, I don't see that they're going to reissue it. This storm that we've been watching over Boone County, it's a big storm. It's an intense storm. But at this point, I don't know that it's a severe storm. Severe storms need 1-inch hail, and they need wind gusts of 60 miles per hour or greater. Now, we had hail that was bigger than an inch reported up near Peyton and in southern Webster County, in between Gowrie and Peyton. But I don't think this storm still has that. That being said, still, I haven't gotten any updates as far as how quickly this is moving. So I'm still going to roll with 30 miles per hour to the southeast, putting a track on it because we still have a lot of people outside. It's Saturday night. It's warm. It's humid.
Tennis ball sized hail in Greene County.
That was a big delayed report, but that is, that report that came in. 2.5-inch hail that was measured just before 5 p.m., 4 miles south of Harcourt in Greene County. Wow. 2.5.
I kind of thought with some of those reflectivities we were going to get
with that,
we call gorilla-sized hail, which is tennis ball or bigger, softball. That's in 4 miles south of Harcourt, so that's probably over here somewhere.
I'll zoom in on that in just a minute.
Yeah, let's go through this track.
Look at the hail track. So this is where it's headed next. 5:32 in Luther, just before 6 p.m. in Huxley, 6:11 in Ankeny, and 6:16 in Kearney. I've never heard of Kearney. I don't know if that's a real place. Sometimes the map, and if it is, I don't think
Kearney. It's a suburb of Ankeny.
I think it's Saylor Township. It's basically Ankeny and North Des Moines and the Saylor Township. Maybe Kearney does exist, but I live in Ankeny, and I've never seen a sign. I don't think I've ever seen anything that says Kearney. I've heard of Kearney, Nebraska. If I am saying that and you live in Kearney, Iowa,
email them.
Please accept my apologies and tell me exactly about it, because I don't know about it. All right, let's look at hail size again.
Let's put the
track on.
I want to kind of pinpoint where this giant hail was.
Yeah,
so it was in Harcourt.
South of Harcourt. So this is Harcourt there.
It's probably right here. So it's 4 miles south of Harcourt in Greene County.
Here's what we can do.
Put up the LSRs. It's right here.
Yeah. And I can pull up the storm reports too.
It's the northerly one. The south one's a 1-inch measurement.
There you go.
Wow.
Just to the south of Harcourt, 2 to 3 inch diameter hail. 2.5 inches is what they are going with. That was at 4:55, so that was about a half hour ago.
Let me go back on the radar loop here just to see. Oh, yeah.
You can see it on there because the reflectivity got to the purple and the really dark reds. And sometimes that's an indication of heavy rain, but more frequently that's an indicator of large hail.
That's how strong, I mean, that updraft must have been so strong, throwing the rain and the hail back up into the storm, gathering more water vapor on it. It's kind of like a snowball. It gets bigger and bigger.
Still watching that cell in Calhoun County.
Yeah.
But right now, I'm not seeing a whole lot of intensification. Here's what's happening with that storm. This cell that is over Boone County is sort of cutting off the energy that this storm needs, kind of blocking that energy and essentially not allowing it to get up there to Rockwell City, to Calhoun County. They're kind of fighting each other for the environment, if you want to think of it that way.
Yeah, it's a good way of putting it. Meanwhile, we have...
This is completely fallen apart too. In Adair County that came out of Cass County.
We have 5-inch hail in Beatrice Beatrice?
Oh, wait. I think it's Beatrice.
Beatrice?
That's a Taylor Knust question. I'm
He's from
pretty sure
Nebraska.
it's Beatrice, Nebraska. And if
Wow.
I'm wrong, again, accept my apologies. We're just having a good time now because we're on our live stream here. But this is numerous tornado warnings in effect. I
think we have
should
a-
actually. This is the current look of those storms from the Omaha radar.
Hail tracker? Oh, man. Query that red one.
There's no way.
No way.
That's wrong.
I mean, there's a local storm report I'm looking at here.
All right, let me get rid of that.
4 inches. Grapefruit-sized hail. I'm sure Reed
See if I
Timmer's
go
out
in
there.
closer. No? All right. That's
Anyways,
well, there was large hail there. You don't
way
see
that way. Way
Yeah.
west.
I don't know why our system is depicting that, but that's way in Nebraska. Those storms are moving into northeast Kansas, so they're no longer, or they were never our problem, but they're certainly not now. But certainly going to keep an eye on what happens out there. This is the latest is what's going on here. Boy, I'll tell you, this thing's almost downgraded to a large rain shower. There's
Yeah.
a lot of lightning still.
Is there?
I think I should probably double check. Nope, not as much as there was. There are still strikes, but we were having a lot greater coverage of lightning with that cell 20 minutes ago.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a new strike right there, but this is probably a quarter or a fifth of how many lightning strikes we had 15, 20 minutes ago.
Yeah, and actually I can probably loop that too. Look at how many lightning strikes there were and how many there are now.
Wow.
That's usually a very good indicator of how a storm is weakening. Lightning, even though that's not a criteria to get a severe storm, criteria for a severe storm being 60-mile-per-hour winds or 1-inch hail or the presence of a tornado. Lightning is a very good indicator of how strong or how weak a storm is. And the more lightning you see, typically the more intense that cell is. And the fewer lightning strikes you see, the less severe it's becoming.
Brandon, I'm looking at there's a wall cloud in Madrid 6 minutes ago.
I see that
So I just
from
retweeted
Willard.
it.
Interesting. Hey, we've seen rain showers produce tornadoes too.
Last night in Clark County, these mini supercells,
Supercells, yeah.
like probably as big as Jefferson, as big as that name is, just as big as that label is. So a sixth of the side of this storm was rotating almost. I think it had a funnel cloud, didn't drop a tornado, but you don't need a monster cell. Okay, wait, I just noticed something. Put that back in motion real quick. There's a bit of an outflow boundary forming here in western Boone County. New storm just formed here in eastern Greene County.
Yeah, little tiny
Yeah.
thing.
So, see, almost it's got like a little tail to it. It's almost like hooked back to the storms. And it's almost like an umbilical cord, Brandon. It's like some wind energy that the other storms can feed back off of to the west and to the northwest.
I don't know that I've ever heard anybody say that in storm coverage, but there you go. That's a way to describe it.
John Diaz says we have a tag board.
Oh.
Let's take a tag board.
All right, John, let's do it. What do we have here? Dave, read that.
Views that make me nervous from my deck.
All right.
That
looks
is
like
definitely a wall cloud.
wall cloud there, yeah.
Grand Junction. That is a wall cloud. Where's Grand Junction?
Grand Junction is in Boone County.
Yeah. Huxley, there's Adam. I mean, there's clearly a wall cloud with this. It's had one for the past 20 minutes. Thanks for putting this together, John, because
Oh, I'm sorry. Grand Junction's in Greene County.
it's like brother, sister. Next.
I should probably know that,
There's the one from Willard I
especially
retweeted.
because I'm looking at the map right there. Grand Junction's in Greene. I've corrected myself. Yeah, this is the wall cloud from Willard Sharp.
Yep.
Willard's a well-known storm chaser here in central Iowa. He lives in Madrid, I believe, or near Madrid, and so it makes sense. All right, well, here we are at 5:27 with no severe thunderstorm warnings. They just expired that severe thunderstorm warning It no longer is in effect. They did that 3 minutes early, so they see that wall cloud and they think right now there's not really any concern with it rotating or dropping a funnel or dropping a tornado. So, Dave, what do you say we go back to just our looping graphics and we take a little bit of a break here?
Yeah, I think
and we will continue to watch these storms, watch these cells over the next couple of hours. And should it be necessary, we will jump on the live stream again. We will jump on air, of course, and then we are only about a half hour away from Local 5 News at 6. Dave will be in that show. I will not, but Dave will be there to give you a complete rundown, a complete update as to what we're expecting through the rest of the night.
That's right. Yep. Severe thunderstorm warning allowed to expire. So Mario, our highly talented digital producer, if we can go back to that live stream. We're not going anywhere. We'll be monitoring all evening.
Yeah. Have a good night.
You're watching Local 5 News.
you